I suffer. Why do I suffer? And what is this nature of suffering? I suffer because I've lost my son, my mother, sister, or somebody doesn't love me, or I cannot fulfill, or I'm thwarted. I haven't got a good brain and somebody else has a good brain. In suffering there is a great deal of self-pity. And suffering, I want to escape from it, because I don't know how to resolve it. And so I have a network of escapes. Now, can I stop from escaping? And it's very difficult because escaping is so subtle. I can escape by turning on the radio, magazine, talking to somebody, and so on, but the thing remains, and I don't want to get in touch with it. It's too painful, too agonizing. I push it away. So can I stop from escaping altogether and just look at it, live with it, know it? Not suppress it, not control it, not sublimate it, not do all that kind of idiotic stuff, but get to know it, live with it, go into it.
Is the action of love the permanent escape of suffering?
Do we know what suffering is? Do you really know what suffering is? Only we know it when we remain with it, right? We don't remain with anything. Oh Lord, huh? Do we? We think about it. Volumes have been written by religious people and all the rest of it. And yet we suffer. Suffering apparently is a daily affair. And a man asks, is it possible to end it? And when says, please tell me how to end it, then is that thinking? Is that examining? Or you're merely wanting a result which will be greatly pleasurable. When the suffering ends, obviously you think it'll be tremendous pleasure, there'll be great pleasure. So one follows the method in order to have that pleasure. But there's no understanding of suffering. And so, when there's no understanding of suffering, it comes in another form. What we're trying to do is to find out for oneself whether it is possible to end this thing that we call suffering, in which is involved self-pity, loneliness, all that.
Is it necessary to suffer in order to understand suffering?
Is it necessary to suffer in order to understand? I think Christianity has made suffering into something holy. By suffering we say we're going to reach heaven. Most of our minds are not quiet, are they? Ceaselessly agitated, active, thinking about something, or soliloquizing, talking to itself, imagining. It is endlessly restless, isn't it? And it may be the nature of the mind never to be quiet. My tendency, my demand for a particular satisfaction has not been satisfied, and I'm always seeking something which will give me immense satisfaction, and I know there isn't any. And without understanding the nature of one's own thinking, which is self-knowing, quietness of the mind is not possible. And to know oneself is the beginning of wisdom. Not in a book, not in psychology, all that. Wisdom is in knowing oneself. It comes out of the soil of self-knowing.